Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory in for hashtag the Yacht. It's Wednesday, July the 20th. This is Africa 54.
Kenya's running mates Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua faced each other for a deputy presidential debate in Nairobi. We'll explain what's at stake. A possible breakthrough in the cause of death of 21 teenagers at a bar in the South African city of East London last month. And a 27-year-old Zambia self-taught aeronautic engineer uses his passion for airplanes to design aircraft and drones using locally sourced materials such as scrap metal and discarded plastic.
We begin in East Africa, where Kenyan presidential running mates Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua squared off in a deputy presidential debate in Nairobi, with corruption dominating the discussion. Gachagua, who faces corruption allegations and was charged last year with acquiring more than $62.8 million, suspected to be proceeds of crime, defended himself, insisting he has no such money in his possession. He claims he is worth 800 million Kenyan shillings, or about $6.7 million. Speaking out against corruption, Karua says the law must apply equally to all and everyone must have a chance to clear their name in court. Now, viewers spoke to Kenyans in Nairobi about the debate, and here are some of their responses.
The debate was not issue-based. So I think also the most critical thing is that the media needs to steer this conversation to make it issue-based rather than allowing the debaters or the politicians who are seeking for these positions to be personal in terms of throwing salvos here and there.
For me, Gachagua articulated the interests I wanted to hear yesterday, and yeah, the debate was very interesting and very orderly.
I think maybe they will have to call them again to redo it, because even the panel which was interviewing them also looked like it wasn't very well prepared.
I got the chance to hear from Gachagua. I didn't really know the true Gachagua, but yesterday I got the chance to get him. And he exceeded my expectation. He did well.
It's so difficult to change because they were at par. You cannot compare that debate to the debate of Sakaja and Igade. Because that one actually, it will stamp your own idea about your own candidates, and you love them even more.
When Gachagua defended himself, like they pinned him down, but he came out strong. Yeah, and the fact that he pointed out the consistent part of Martha. She was not consistent, you see, and that part only, it stood out for me. I love the fact that he defended himself, like it was like him against the world, and he came out strong.
While Kenyans reacting to the deputy presidential debate. Now, for more insight on the debate and whether it could sway undecided voters, I'm joined live via Skype by Mishari Munene, a professor of history and international relations at the United States International University in Nairobi. Professor Munene, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
Now, first, your take on the performance of the candidates. What do you have to say?
Well, it was a good show and exciting and very informative. On one side, it exceeded expectations on the part of Rigathi Gachagua and fell slightly below expectation on the part of Martha Karua. But in general, they appear to be equal, with a slight edge going to Gachagua because he was perceived to be an underdog before going in. So he did very well and therefore seemed to come out on top.
Now, there's often a lot of debate over the effectiveness of debates. To what degree can actually these deputy presidential debates sway the voters to to any of the teams?
No, those who are already undecided are the target of these debates, because those who have made up their mind, they will not change one way or the other. But those in the middle now can be convinced that so-and-so is not as bad as he or she has been made to be. So those might be affected, those in the middle. And it's said that there are about 4 million people who have not made up their minds. So the debates are likely to sway those people one way or the other. In that case, then Rigathi Gachagua did very well in case of we might have to attract people.
Now, some will say in the Kenyan politics, it's the bread and butter issues or the ugali issues that we would say in Kenya, or sometimes ethnicity. Now, what do you think is likely to be the major determinant of how people vote this time around?
The economy is going to be a major issue. The emotions that people can arouse, whoever of the two major presidential candidates, whoever can arouse more emotions than the other is likely to carry the day and get people to get out of the stage of apathy, which seems to be developing, and excite people to go out and cast their ballot for the candidates of their choice. So whoever can excite people more will take the day. Ethnicity sometimes has been overplayed.
Yes, very quickly, the significance of the two of them actually coming from the same region, Mount Kenya area.
Well, because the main presidential candidates believe that if you miss, no one wanted to miss the large number of voters in the Mount Kenya region by simply not having somebody nearby. So I think that's what they did. But the number, the vote in Mount Kenya is big, but it is not granted for anyone to claim that it is his. And that's why you have all of them rushing there to be seen. They are serious about it.
All right. Professor Monene, we really appreciate your insight. Mashere Monene, he's a professor of history and international relations at the United States International University in Nairobi. Now, the toxic chemical methanol has been identified as a possible cause of the death of 21 teenagers at a bar in East London, South Africa, last month. Clara Frank has the details.
Investigations are continuing to determine whether the level of the toxic chemical methanol were enough to have killed the teenagers at the Enyobeni Tavern in East London's Scenery Park Township in the early hours of June 26, shocking the country and resulting in several investigations by the police and liquor license authorities. Methanol is a toxic form of alcohol that is used industrially as a solvent, pesticide, or an alternative source of fuel. It is not used in the production of alcohol sold for human consumption. It is not yet known how the youngsters ingested the methanol.
Methanol has been detected in all the 21 individuals that was there. However, there is still a progressive analysis of the levels of methanol. So
authorities are still awaiting the conclusive results, which are being conducted at a laboratory in Cape Town. Alcohol poisoning and inhalation of carbon monoxide have both been ruled out as possible causes of death, although traces of both were detected in the bodies of all 21 victims. Many of the teens, ranging in age between 13 and 17, were found dead in the tavern, with their bodies strewn across tables and couches. Others died after they were rushed to nearby health facilities. South African police will be guided by the final results of the toxicology analysis to determine whether anyone will face criminal charges for the 21 deaths, according to National Police Minister Becky Cele. The owner of Enyobeni Tavern and some employees were arrested and are currently out on bail as they face charges related to the violation of liquor trading laws, including the sale of liquor to children. Clara Frank, VOA News, Washington.
To West Africa now, a Catholic priest seized by bandits last week in northwestern Nigeria was killed by his abductors, while another kidnapped priest escaped, according to a Christian leader. Joseph Ayab, head of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Kaduna, says priests John Mark Chetnam and Donatus Cleopas was seized on July 15th in a church at Yadin Gura village in Kaduna State. I have told the agency, France Press news agency that further Chetnam was killed on the day they were kidnapped. Cleopas managed to escape from his abductors Tuesday as they were leading him to a meeting point where they were expected to receive ransom from an envoy for his release. Now, a recent launch of 2 networks for women in South Sudan's security sector provides a platform for uniformed female personnel in both the police and the military to advocate for gender-responsive security institutions. The United Nations Women United Nations Development Program and the United Nations Mission in South Sudan are partnering in supporting the gender mainstreaming reform process in South Sudan and a project funded by the Secretary General's Peace Building Fund. In this agreement, women's networks in the police, military, prison service, civil defense, wildlife and national security are to be launched separately.
I know very well that it will benefit women because women in uniform will really play a very big role because, for all this time, people are pointing fingers to the organized forces that they are the one, they are the one causing all the atrocities. But when we include women, because women are peace lovers, women are peace builders. When we include them, maybe things will really change, and we need them really to be there, to be side by side with the counterpart, the men, to serve and to help the security of the nation.
But our men in South Sudan, they're not involving us. Now, if I were to ask myself, how many women chief in South Sudan? Nothing. So let men try women, because for them to work alone is not good. Let us work together. We involve our women in all sectors. Like in Ghana, this protocol work is in, women are involved in protocol. Women are involved in VIP. Women are involved to go and work in other countries. What is the difference between us and other countries? Now, my message is, let us have policy of recruiting our girls, our educated women in the security sector, so that tomorrow they will go in peacekeeping. Peacekeeping is for Africa. We are one of African countries. So our children will also go if we don't go. But our children should also go and join and get more knowledge and bring to South Sudan.
Following South Sudan's September 2018 signing of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict, the provision of a 35% affirmative action quota was a great win for women in various sectors countrywide. To West Africa, Ghana has confirmed its first ever cases of the deadly and highly infectious Marburg virus. Ghana's health service says 2 people tested positive for the virus earlier this month and later died. VOA health correspondent Lino Mudu spoke with Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, Director General, Ghana Health Services, for an update on the often fatal disease.
So far, since we had a case on the 7th of July, we've been following them as usual for 21 days. For the incubation period for the virus is 2 to 21 days. About 39 of our 98 contacts completed their 21 days yesterday. We are expecting another large group to also have completed the 21 days. None has reported any symptoms. We randomly selected 13 of the closest contacts to test for Marburg, but they are all negative. Normally, we'll wait for 2 incubation period. That will be about 42 days. And if you don't have any case, then we can declare the outbreak over. But for now, we are continuing to monitor. Subsequently, we'll do a risk profile. This is the first time, so we want to know what are the risks. Are there other parts of the country where there are risks? The key agencies are in terms of providing PPEs for health workers and other workers in the locality to be sure that should they have any case that they are able to have protection to manage. We are also alerting health workers to be on lookout. We have what we call primary prevention to ensure that they are not exposed on if new other cases come. And most importantly, sensitizing their community and people on the presentation of Marburg so that they can quickly identify the report and also avoid contact with such people. The chiefs and the people have been very helpful in first in making sure there's no panic and also making sure our volunteers are also educating them enough to be able to know what to do. So we'll continue with our communication with WHO and all the other partners to assist in the villages and ensure that we are also communicating, educating the community to look out for any such symptoms or anything they know about the cases and see how they can also help us. Well, our message is more to the people to be on the lookout, practice primary prevention, report all cases to the facility for quick, rapid response, and also that Ghana is safe.
Well, that was VOA Health correspondent Lina Madu speaking with Dr. Patrick Kumar Boaji, the Director General of Ghana's Health Services. U.S. President Joe Biden announced Wednesday that the United States will bring together leaders from across Africa for a major summit in December here in Washington to discuss pressing challenges from food security to climate change. The U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, scheduled for December 13th through 15th, was announced simultaneously in virtual remarks by Vice President Kamala Harris to the U.S.-Africa Business Summit in Marrakesh, Morocco, hosted by the Corporate Council on Africa and the Kingdom of Morocco and attended by a U.S. delegation. London's High Court says a judicial review into the legality of the British government's plan to deport migrants to Rwanda is scheduled to begin on September 5th. And an agreement struck in April, Britain is expected to send tens of thousands of migrants who arrived on its shores illegally more than 6,000 kilometers to the East African country. Migrants and charities are challenging the policy's lawfulness. Well, we are excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, a Zambian engineer designs drones using locally sourced materials. But first, here's what's coming up on Wednesday's Straight Talk Africa.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, what's behind the spate of mass shootings in South Africa? As police hunt the gunmen who went on killing sprees in bars and taverns, communities are directing their anger at police for failing to curb violent crime. We'll also discuss the life and legacy of the late José Eduardo dos Santos, who ruled Angola for nearly 4 decades. As Angolans prepare to go to the polls in August, we'll look at key moments of dos Santos' regime and how he shaped Angolan society and politics. Join me, Heidi Adams, on the next Straight Talk Africa.
Well, Malawi is registering a rise in new cases of leprosy after the country effectively eliminated the disease nearly 30 years ago. The Ministry of Health says that about 500 cases have been recorded since January. Amnesty International is calling on Nigerian authorities to probe the recent deaths of 7 young men in the country's southeast, where separatist tensions are on the rise. And Benin is set to auction art, luxury furniture, and a Rolls-Royce limousine seized from Sebastian Ajavon, an opposition tycoon who lives in exile in Paris. Ajavon has been handed a 20-year sentence on drug charges. Well, it's time now for a technology report, and joining us now is tech reporter Paul Dio. Hello, Paul.
A 27-year-old self-taught aeronautic engineer from Zambia is designing aircraft and drones using locally sourced materials such as scrap metal and discarded plastic. Onija Zani discovered his love for aeronautics when he was just a young boy, but his dreams of becoming a pilot were disrupted by lack of funds. For more insight, I'm joined by Onija Zani, founder of Project Prehiba. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much, and I'm happy for having me.
You are a remarkable young man. You have come up with an initiative where you're trying to make planes using locally sourced materials. Not only are you just making planes, but you're able to fly them. Tell us more about that.
So the project that I'm working on is called Project Brihipa. I simply use materials that I pick from the environment. These are plastics, papers, tins, wires. Then I recycle them into these drones that are able to fly and which are able to be used as learning aids. We all know that for a learner to learn something sufficiently, they need something to see and to witness that it's operating. I have certain objectives set about this project, and I'm trying by all means to establish a drone company here in Zambia. As the aviation industry, it is increasing in Zambia and developing.
How many have you made? Can they fly, and how long can they fly?
So I've made several planes. The first ones were not flying at all, but rather they were just moving on the ground and they are working as gliders. But I've made about 15 to 20 planes that are able to fly different types and different models. And the range of them flying, they can fly about 1 kilometer away from me and high up. By regulation, I can't fly above 400 feet. So I maintain below 400 feet, but they're able to fly by themselves, which is autonomous flying, and I can enable them to fly in a mission manner. So if I want them to cover about 1 hectare of land, the plane to just rotate and move in one position, it's possible that you can actually command them in a software called Mission Planner, and this is done. Otherwise, the whole body and the composition of the plane is all pollutants, but the composition in terms of components inside the drones that I make, they are actually sourced out of Zambia. So me now I have to buy online and bring them here in Zambia and configure them and make them according to what plane I want to make.
When I saw some of the things that you sent me, the only thing I could think about was the Wright brothers. How everybody told them they can't do it, but they insisted on doing it until they managed to fly a plane. And that, I guess, led to the birth of, aircrafts and stuff like that.
I haven't attended any school in line with aviation, but rather all this research and project came about due to consulting engineers and pilots who are already in the industry. With this desire or passion of me making planes and trying to make them fly, it has driven me to be so curious and tried a lot of planes. Just as the Wright brothers, they tried a lot. Me too, I've worked my own errors. They've been crashing at first. I was having mistakes here and there, but now I'm able to make something which is more perfect and managed to correct all those errors, that at least my planes are good and able to fly perfectly and nice.
Have you found yourself a market to sell these drones that you're flying in Zambia?
So that's what I'm making right now. I haven't sold any yet because I'm having an objective of perfecting them and making my own company here in Zambia. So I'm trying to fundraise more funds that at least I can establish this project here in Zambia into a program which will be ongoing, and not only Zambia to benefit, but also the other countries within Africa that can utilize pollutants to leverage them and make them into something so useful.
President Hichilema is an advocate for innovation, for technology. He wants to see young people who excel at some of these projects supported. If you were to talk to him directly, what would you say to him?
Mr. President, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, I would love to appeal to you, I, Onija Zani from Zambia, over the drone project that I have named Project Brihipa, that you should sponsor it and help me for me to establish this project here in Zambia.
I think you have what it takes to be able to excel. You've already proven that you can actually fly. So whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. It can only get better from here.
That's true. Definitely. I'll keep on pushing and keep on working hard.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much also for your time. I really appreciate it.
Eliah Zani is the founder of Project Prehipa, based in Lusaka, Zambia. And that's today's Tech Report. Back to you, Vincent.
Really fascinating, Paul. I don't know if I created anything at age 27. Well, be sure to join Paul Ndiho each Wednesday for his Africa 54 Tech Report. Now, South Africa recently celebrated Mandela Day. The internationally acclaimed group Ladysmith Black Mambazo performed in concert to celebrate the life of the human rights icon. That's Mandela. Clara Frank has more.
The harmonies of Ladysmith Black Mambazo floated through a packed Johannesburg auditorium on Sunday as the 5-time Grammy-winning group sang Long Walk to Freedom. This concert, in the South African city's main theater, celebrated the life of peace icon Nelson Mandela. Taking place the day before the UN decreed Mandela Day, the gig was a rare opportunity for South Africans to interact with the group, who spend most of their time internationally touring. Sibongiseni Shabalala, son of the group's late founder Joseph Shabalala, said it felt great to perform for their hero.
My father wrote a song, special song for him, called Long Walk to Freedom, which talked about Datu Madiba's work. You know, he's working for peace, making sure that everyone is safe. Because if he came out and said, "Oh, I've been in prison and being bitter, now it's my time to go," and we wouldn't be where we are today. So we are here today because of his life and his inspiration to the people that we must all live together in peace. South Africa is for everyone.
Ladysmith Black Mambazo managed 3 songs before the power cut took out the sound and stage lights. The outage, known locally as load shedding, served as a reminder of the challenges that persist in South Africa nearly 3 decades since Mandela achieved his dream of ending apartheid. One fan is Palesa Manaleng. She said remembering history was crucial in knowing how to move forward.
And it's very important that the younger generation need to, understand the struggle of the older generation, apartheid, and so that they can appreciate where they are now. And we're still struggling. I mean, load shedding is a struggle. Fees must fall is a struggle. It's just a different struggle. So it's important to celebrate, I guess, Mandela Day.
The rumble of a generator allowed the music and dancing to resume. Ladysmith Black Mambazo cemented their global recognition after a breakthrough collaboration with Paul Simon on the 1986 album Graceland. They have since cut songs with major names ranging from Dolly Parton to recently featuring on Nigerian hitmaker Burna Boy's latest album. Clara Frank, VOA News.
Well, good place to end, and that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at VOA